Alright, what is going on everybody? Quancredible here, and I haven't made one of these kind of videos in a minute, that being a Black Clover related video. I know we've been back from the hiatus for like, I want to say it's been 3 chapters now, and honestly, because you guys already know how I felt about the whole Spade arc. I had a lot of mixed feelings. There were like some parts that were really, really good, but then there's some parts that were, a little less than good.
That's fair.
But with so far what he's been doing, we don't really have a name for this arc yet, but so far Tabata has been 3 for 3, like absolutely fire chapters. I really don't have a lot to complain about. There are some things that I of course have my little bit of hangups about, but I'm going to address those in the video. The purpose of this one is just to kind of talk about the things that I think are going really, really well right now, and potentially where they're going to go in the future, as well as some things that I kind of want to address that may potentially be issues. So obviously we're going to talk about the big thing, and that would be Lucius Zogratis.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for.
So for the longest time, Black Clover has had the problem of not having a very good main villain, or kind of like a good main antagonist type character to kind of fall back on, like most series typically do have. But so far Lucius has been that for these, I want to say, 3 chapters. And I really like the fact that so far it doesn't sound like he's going to be somewhat redeemable, kind of like how the elves were. And well, fingers crossed he's not going to be somewhat redeemed in the very end. It doesn't sound like he's doing things for no reason, which is kind of the vibe that the Dark Triad gave me. They kind of just gave me the vibe that they were kind of just really just evil and messed up for the sake of being evil. Like they themselves didn't really have their own goals, whereas Lucius definitely has his whole plan. He's been biding his time. Like he's done a lot of just prep work in between the end of the Spade arc and now getting ready for his big plan. So it's one of those things where I really am feeling very good about where Lucius is, and Black Clover's main villain state as of right now. One of the biggest things he's doing, turning his sister Lily against Asta, that's like absolutely amazing. One side thing I do want to say about that is I was never a big fan of the sister Lily is evil theories. Like those have been floating around for like forever. So, but this way she gets to be evil, but it's not like she was always evil. This is like a nice happy medium for me, to be honest. One thing I do want to mention though about the Lucius scenario or situation is I kind of have mixed feelings on a note of him having 2 souls, with Julius being in him as well. It's kind of one of the things where we're getting a lot of similarities already to the elf arc, and I'm not saying that like to kind of be a downer, but I just want to like bring it up. Whereas, this is a very similar thing with, William having, another soul inside of him, and Julius has another soul inside of him. So that other soul takes over and is now trying to change people into whatever, with Partry, it was resurrect the elves in people's bodies. So with Lucius, it's going to be turn humanity into, higher forms. So it's like there's a lot of similarities that can be drawn already, and I'm sure there's just going to become more and more. Granted, obviously, I understand that the situations are different. I just like it just kind of bothers me a little bit. The and then also the whole reincarnation thing for the elves kind of made a little bit more sense with Partry's soul being inside of William not really being aware of it for a while, but then knowing about it and then kind of being conscious of this whole thing between Partry and himself. Now, the thing that bothers me with the Lucius one is that Lucius was always aware of Julius, whereas Julius was not really aware of Lucius, which is kind of odd. Like, how did the whole magic thing work? Because, they have 2 separate grimoires. Lucius has his own, and then Julius has the coverless one that they kind of turned into each other. Whereas with William and Partridge, they legitimately had 2 separate grimoires, because typically in Black Clover, each soul gets its own grimoire, such as with and that elf person inside of him, they have their 2 separate ones. Like I just said, William and Partry, they have their 2 separate ones, but for some reason Lucius and Julius, it seems one turns into the other one, which is just kind of odd. Like I know Tobias probably not going to explain a lot into that, but I just kind of want a little bit of an explanation into that, like for me personally, because it's just really curious.
Really makes you think.
I know one of the things I really want to talk about was his plan. He apparently has already essentially conquered the underworld and taken control of all of the devils down there, and so far he's going to, I guess, use those to transform, or he's going to use those to purify and transform humanity into higher beings, which is kind of interesting to really think about, because I don't know how he's going to do that necessarily in mass. I mean, we've seen how he did it that one time with Sister Lily. We actually just touched her, but I feel like it wouldn't really make a lot of sense for him to touch every single person. That would just be like a lot. So I'm assuming there's probably going to be some bigger, grander scale of thing he's going to do. One important thing to note is that I believe using his soul magic to purify them and turn them into something different, I think this could be a great way to get a lot of fights between characters and these new beings, without really being limited by arcane magic or arcane stage. I know we haven't, like, no one is really talking about it right now, but when you think about it, arcane stage or being arcane was a huge limiter on like who could fight against devils. So I kind of like the fact that potentially with doing this, Tabata is getting away from that entirely and making it to where maybe, since these guys aren't technically devils, almost anybody can kind of beat them, regardless of that weird, well, you're not arcanes, you can never really truly kill them. I kind of like that maybe he's going to be able to get away from that in the future, and also that they have nearly invincible bodies or nearly immortal bodies. I think that's going to play into where they all have some type of like some like obviously insane durability, but some type of like regening. So like we get to see a lot of good stuff, I believe, from all these paladins or higher life forms that he's going to end up making in the very near future. And then lastly, there is the big thing that happened at the end of 335, and that would be Sister Lily seemingly finishing off Asta. Now, as for me, I'm pretty sure myself, no one actually thinks Asta's dead. Anyone who does, this must be your first shonen ever, because the main character clearly isn't just going to die right here. There's going to be something up. Now, as for what that something is, it can kind of go a bunch of different ways. I know a lot of people were expecting some type of underworld arc, but since Lucius has literally already soloed and taken control of all of the devils in the underworld, there really wouldn't be much of a point to send Asta down there, unless there's some type of like devil resistance force down there, but that would just be kind of weird. So I don't know. I don't know if it would make sense to really get to give us that as of right now. Now, as for myself, as I'm sure a lot of other people think, is that I kind of think that they're going to play on this trope that maybe like Sister Lily had a little bit of her consciousness still when she did that, and instead of like erasing him like with straight like a spatial erasure attack, I kind of believe she probably just sent him somewhere else, like really, really far away. As for where, that's kind of random, because we've kind of already seen everywhere on this continent right now, at least everywhere that matters. So it's one of those things where like there's really nowhere you can send Asta where it would be beneficial, because I mean, he is bleeding out. He's definitely about to die soon, and it's not like even if she sent him somewhere where he could be healed, it's not like he's gonna get. It's like, where could she send him to where he's going to be healed and get significantly stronger? Because we know Lucius is coming back in 7 days. So it's like, where could he have gone, or where could she have sent him to where that would be, to where he would be able to get both of those things done? You could say the land of the sun, but I'm just say no. I really don't think Tabata is gonna go that route. You could say with drawers, or you could say with drawers, but as I've said a million times, I think Tabata has forgotten about those entirely. I don't think he ever intends to bring those into the series, to be honest with you. I mean, if he does, cool. I've been waiting for him for a minute. I know a lot of you guys have, but I just don't think Tabata is not worried about those at all. So it's like, I really just have no idea where she could have sent him. So we're going to have to wait to see on that one. I'd love to know what you guys think about that in the comments, like where she could have sent him, or if you really do think he's going to go to the underworld and maybe run some type of underworld resistance against him or something along those lines. It's just kind of really up in the air as of right now, but definitely really excited to see where 336, the next chapter, is going to go, with kind of it being the aftermath of Asta being defeated, as well as seeing what Yuno is going to do, or how Yuno is going to take all this information if they show him next chapter. But like I was saying, I'm really, really excited for where Black Clover is right now. Tabata definitely is starting this arc off really, really strong. I am kind of being a little, tiptoeing a little bit, because he started the Spade arc really, really strong too, when you think about it, with, Xenon popping up on the Golden Dawn, and then, getting clapped, Dante dropping down and like clapping people in the beginning. Like, the beginning started really, really strong. So I guess I'm still tiptoeing because I'm a little nervous. I don't know how this is all going to go, but so far so good. So like I said, let me know how you guys are feeling about everything in the comments. This is not just some one-off. I'm definitely going to try to make some more videos. I might do a review on the chapter when it comes out, either like Friday or Thursday or Saturday, whatever day the chapter comes out. I'm going to try to talk about it. So be on the lookout for that as well later on in the future. Aside from that, you guys make sure you like the video as well as subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in my next video.